Hey, what's up? It's your boy Luke Chang back on the YouTube. So what I am planning to do is start making some longer form YouTube videos where I can explain my ideas a little better than a short little Instagram post. So for the first video, I'm just gonna kind of be going over the kinds of workouts that I'm doing right now. So, right now, my goals are, um, I guess you could say, maintenance, and then also, of course, muscle growth. And at the moment, I am currently only lifting 2 to 3 times a week, and my workouts are pretty short, like less than an hour or so. And so, I'm going to be explaining what I do in that short workout. So it's a full body workout. Every workout, usually what I'll start out with is legs, and I'll start out with some sort of knee flexion exercise. So here we got the glute ham raise. Um, I like to start with knee flexion or hamstring exercise first, just to warm up the knee. Usually, if I start out with like squat leg extensions or any exercises that loads the front part of your knee tendon, um, depending on the time of day, the temperature, um, these can hurt a little more, and so that's the purpose of a warm up, is literally to warm up your joints. And so when I start out with a knee flexion movement, I find that it um, causes less pain, and so I'm doing pretty much 2 sets of these. Since it's a bodyweight exercise, I'm gonna do a little more just to get a little more stimulus and a little more warming up. So next size we're going on to is I'm going to be doing some Bulgarian split squats on the Smith machine. So why am I doing this on the Smith machine? Why am I doing Bulgarians? Why am I doing squats? So when you're trying to do a kind of a minimal workout, I prefer to do some sort of squatting type movement for the quads, just because you're also going to involve the adductors as well, instead of doing, say, like a leg extension and then doing adductor exercise. You can just do this and you get two in one. Of course, if you're trying to go for maximum development, then yeah, you're gonna want to do this exercise individually, but just for saving time, um, we can put them all in one with the squat. So with the Bulgarian, we just get a little more variation, and also doing exercises where you're working one side at a time, isolateral exercises or unilateral exercises, we get a more kind of symmetrical development. Usually, if you're using two legs, two arms at the same time, if you have any imbalances, then they can kind of accentuate those imbalances. If you're working one side at a time, it's really good for kind of evening out the strength, because you're going to be basically forced to do the same amount of work on each side. And then as for the Smith machine, I like the Smith machine a lot. In the past, I kind of avoided the Smith machine because I thought, it's cheating. It's kind of like a easy way to do an exercise. But when it comes to the purposes of just purely muscle building, um, the most important factor is just pure force production. So if you're using a free barbell or free dumbbells, you're going to be spending a lot of energy stabilizing and kind of balancing, as opposed to just producing force from the target muscle. And so with this Smith machine, since it fixes us in this plane of motion and we don't have to worry about balancing, um, you just get more overall force production in target muscles. All right, so now we're going on to upper body. So for legs, that's all I do, just 2 exercises. Generally a knee flexion and a knee extension. and then something that also involves hip extension for the glutes. And then after that, I'm gonna move on to upper body. So I'm gonna start with the chest first, since it's my weaker muscle group. So I'm doing a pushing movement. For this, I'm choosing to do this kind of machine incline chest press I found, which I think is a Life Fitness machine. Something that you'll find at Planet Fitness most likely, but I decided to give it a try a couple weeks ago, and it's honestly one of the best chest machines I've ever used. So that's another thing. Just find a machine or an exercise that you like, and then progress it. That's really all you really need to do to build muscle is choose an exercise, choose movements, and then progress them. So every workout, you want to be increasing the weight, increasing the reps, or something. It's really you don't have to complicate it any further. So for this, you're gonna see that I do like 5 reps for my working set. That's it. I started with a couple warm up sets, um, for the purposes of warming up, and then for the working set, um, close to failure. Um, since I've been lifting for a while and I train to failure a lot, I know where my failure points are, and so instead of kind of trying to push past failure, which is what I used to do in the past, which is not necessarily a bad thing, or actually, I would say the reason why I don't go past failure or try to go past failure now is just due to reduce fatigue. Because the more fatigue you accumulate, that's more that you have to recover from. So pretty much I stop right at failure in my training now. And so 5 reps, that's it. Um, if you need to do more reps in order to kind of discover where your failure points are, that's fine. But really, like I try to get a minimum of 4 reps in my sets, and that's all. And that's gonna be my one chest exercise. When it comes to the chest, pulling your upper arm across your body. That's all it does. No reason to complicate it any further. Choose one exercise that does that. And if you didn't get the memo already, I'm doing pretty much one working set of each exercise. All right, so now we're going on to the back. So for the back, basically pull your elbows towards the sides of your body. That's it. Find an exercise where you do that you enjoy, that you like, that feels good, and progress it. So in this case, I found this machine here at SF Fitness in Corte Madera. I've never used this machine before. I tried it out, and this is pretty much my new favorite back machine. It's a chest supported row. So the reason why I'm going for a chest supported exercise is because when you do any kind of pulling exercise where you support your chest, you take the strain off of your lower back, and this allows you to basically pull harder with the muscles you're trying to work, which is your lats, your traps, your rhomboids, your basically everything that's not your lower back. Because if your lower back is going to give up first before your lats do, then you're going to be missing out. And so in this exercise, basically just a normal chest supported row. You can also do, T-bar row or anything like that. Um, and then you also notice that I'm pulling my elbows basically to the sides, but I'm not going any further back. That's because the lats don't have any leverage when you pull any further behind the body. And so just stop there. There's no point in going any further back. And yep, that's it. Get a nice full stretch on every rep and a full contraction. All right, so now I'm going to move on to shoulders. So lateral raises, that's it. One set, heavy. Um, Something that I've seen kind of trending in the internet fitness space is the term spamming. You'll hear people say spam lateral raises, spam some exercise. Um, don't do that. Uh, there's no reason to spam anything. If you're spamming an exercise, it's because you're not going heavy enough. Just especially with lateral raises, I think it's kind of common to go lighter because it's kind of harder to feel the muscle working. Um, and I'm not gonna say that you don't need to feel the muscle working, but I am gonna say that if you're doing an exercise properly, the muscle's going to be working whether you feel it or not. And so just go as heavy as you can safely, where you can keep your form good. And so with a lot of raises, it's really simple. Just keep your elbow stiff, raise your arm slightly in front of you and slightly out to the side, um, like you see me doing, and that's it. Um, and so one exercise, one set, a lot of raises. So next, we're going into arms now. So triceps. I'm going to be doing, this is my new favorite tricep exercise. It's basically a tricep extension with cables, but I use the dual cable cross machine. And the reason why is because when you stand with your arms at your side and you extend your elbow, it does not move in a straight vertical line, which is what would happen if you use a single cable. It's going to go slightly out to the side. And so when you use the dual cable cross machine and then you extend your arms slightly out to the side, this just lines up the resistance better with your elbow. And so if you ever deal with tendonitis or any elbow pain, this exercise can be really good because a lot of times those kinds of pains are associated with loading the joint in a direction where the joint is not supposed to be moving. So if you're if you're trying to do an extension with a cable that's straight vertical, but your elbow does not want to move straight vertically, then that load is going to be wear and tear on your tendons. And so when you do it like this and you line it up with the joint, it just feels a lot better. And so main things here is I'm focusing on, as you see at the top, I'm trying to bend, flex my elbow all the way. That way, when you extend, you just get more overall range of motion, and then you're uh, working the muscle. You're loading the muscle in a more stressed position as well. So that's something that I still emphasize a lot in my training, which is finding exercises that get a good stretch in the muscles. So in this case, just make sure that you're bending the elbow all the way and then extending all the way, and that's it. That's triceps. That's all you need to do. Next, biceps. So when it comes to biceps, very, very simple muscle group. You do not need to complicate this a lot. The bicep does one thing. Well, I guess it does two things. But when you're training it, there's only one thing you need to worry about, which is flexing the elbow. That's it. Just curl something. My preference nowadays is the preacher curl, and the reason why is because, well, specifically a preacher curl machine. And the reason why is because in a preacher curl machine, you're going to be having resistance throughout the entire range of motion, as opposed to using a dumbbell or using cables, where the resistance is going in one direction, which is either at gravity if you're using weights, or in the direction that the cable is pulling if you're using a cable. With a Smith machine, since in a curl your arm is moving in an arc, the machine gives you tension throughout the entire arc instead of just that one motion, one point in the range. And so, preacher curl, one set, heavy, that's it. Um, some people are afraid not to do preacher curls because there are a lot of videos of guys snapping their elbow tendons doing this exercise. Um, that's why we do this thing called warming up, and that's why we also make sure that we don't uh, go too heavy and use a way that we can't handle. And also another thing is try to keep your arm, well, not your arm, but your uh, try to keep your shoulder in front of the pad instead of behind it. Because if you place your shoulder behind the pad, that's where you're going to be putting a lot more stress on the elbow tendon, and that's where you get a little more risk of that bicep rupture that everybody fears. So keep your shoulders a little bit in front, keep your elbows planted, and you'll be safe. Last exercise, I'm just gonna do a little bit of abs. Real simple. Just choose any exercise. Usually, I decided to go back to the glute ham um, station and do some sit-ups. Sometimes I'll do some crunches with a cable. Sometimes I'll do leg raises. with a dumbbell um, in between my feet. Uh, I don't really complicate it much for abs. I just kind of do them to keep the core healthy, and that's really it. So that's a full body workout. Um, that should take less than. This took me like 40 minutes, but it takes longer when you're setting up your camera and everything and looking funny. So in reality, this takes me like 30 minutes, and that's it. And so that's the end of this video. I'm going to be trying to do more videos to explain my ideas more and maybe try to make them shorter as well. So see you in the next one.